All right, thank you. Welcome. Um, as mentioned, it is going to be a fast and furious power hour today. There's going to be a whole bunch of links being shared in the chat, but if you can't grab them all, the presentation that we're walking through today is going to have all the step-by-step instructions for everything we're doing and all of the links that we're going to try and have a little play along with as well. We obviously can't dive too deep into some of the things that we're doing, but it will hopefully, give you the option to go, wow, that's a possibility. I'm going to investigate that a little later on and then come back to the presentation deck where you can then refer to it to, dive a little deeper into it a little bit later on. So hoping that most of you today have had a little bit of experience with Canva, be that you've just, made a birthday invitation or you have come along to one of our previous sessions, because we won't have much time today to do much of the basics. It's more of a let's see what all other cool tools we have within here and other things that are lesser known to a lot of Canva users. So as mentioned, my name's Jo, primary school teacher by context. So a lot of the stuff that I do refer to, it does come from that primary school background. I do attempt to include what I can in terms of, creating use cases for high school. And if you're here joining us from an administrative role, we do a lot of training as well, for brand kit and filing and folders and sharing and whatnot as well. I'm completely and utterly free in terms of providing support and training to your schools. So if you know that your school would love to learn a little more about Canva, I'm your person. I will just zoom on in. I am based in the Gold Coast, so I will zoom on in and conduct some training with your schools. If you know you want to get your students on for some micro-credentialing or some video creation. I recently just worked with a bunch of 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds at a school, teaching them all how to use and create videos. And so I can happily work with your students there as well. So please use me. I'm here to be used. If you want to let me know, you can deviate from this a little bit. What do you maybe teach? Or if you're in an admin role, let me know whereabouts, if you're in marketing or if you're in finance or whatever it may be. And maybe something you love about Canva or something you've done in Canva that you were really impressed or proud of having accomplished. And we'll have a quick little look in the chat to see some of the cool things that we've done in Canva because, so many people just think that it's a place to find a pretty poster or make an invitation, but Canva's so much more than that. And it actually blows my mind the amount of people out there that still don't realize that Canva is free for teachers and students and that it's this incredible software where not only you can deliver lessons, but your students can jump in, engage, collaborate, work together, demonstrate their understanding as well. Ooh, we've got some admin folk. Oh, a special educator. I love this. I have my own special needs child, so I love, love, love that you've joined us. Canva's been a place that my own child has really been able to feel a huge amount of success because she's been able to be creative and work outside the realms of the standard, curriculum. She can demonstrate her understanding in ways that, best meet her needs as well. Look at this. We've got some year 3, 4 teachers, 5, 6. This is great. We've got some secondaries. I love this. Awesome. Well, so there's going to be something in here for everyone. And some of this stuff you may have seen already. And some of this stuff will be, without a doubt, something new. So I would love if during the session today we have a bit of interactivity in the chat. If anything in here that is completely new to you, maybe give me a thumbs up in the chat so we can sort of see how much new learning is actually happening today. That would be pretty cool. Okay. I'm not going to dive too much into what Canva education is because I know that you know that, but I did just want to let you know that we have reached 100 million students and teachers using it on a monthly basis. And that's more than those using Google and Microsoft Teams, which I think is absolutely mind-blowing because this has only been around for 6 years. But I think the beauty of this is, and the magic is that it is completely and utterly free. 150,000 education-specific templates that have been created by teachers And not just the posters and the social media posts, but you can do so much more in there. So everything from creating your teacher planner to creating a student picture book, you name it. If you can create it digitally, you can do it in Canva. So before we get too far into it, I'm going to drop a little link into the chat here. It is just a link that shows you all the different classroom integrations that you can have with Canva. Ensuring, you guys are rolled onto a schooling system, which makes your integration with your learning management system a lot more easy. It means that you can easily create classes, you can share with your students via your learning management integration. It gives a lot more functionality with having your integration turned on. So if in that link, you can see that your learning management system for your school is in that list, then please do have a chat with your administrator to ensure that that integration is turned on. And there is also a link in that within that link that I've put into the chat there, if you would like to suggest to Canva to integrate with one of your preferred learning management system if it's not already rolled into the system. All right. Let's jump into some of the cool tips that we have from the homepage. Now, I have some links here. This is, I just find, a really useful template shortcut link. If you're ever going to be someone that delivers some professional learning in your schooling context, this is a great link for you guys to just get your new friends really excited about Canva. I think the amount of people that say to me, like, Canva is like Christmas. I feel like I'm stealing, because all this stuff is free. So this is just a really cool link where you can get people in and starting to explore all the different template types that are found in Canva. So grab that link there. And if you're not in a position to grab the links, don't stress. We will have access to this deck at the end with all the clicky links. Another really cool tool that a lot of people don't seem to realize is that we don't need to reinvent the wheel with Canva. We can drag and drop any of our pre-existing PDFs, presentations, or PowerPoints and Word documents straight into Canva, as well as any media, songs or videos or pictures that we've created, and we can drop it straight into Canva. So I'm actually going to jump out of my presentation mode here, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you really quickly. So from the home page, I have an uploads button here. If for some reason you've got this extra little menu down the side here, you can close that menu in that top left-hand corner so that you can easily see that uploads button. Otherwise, just use your little arrow to scroll across there. But I'm going to close that so you can easily see. I can upload individual files or entire folders, but I can also just go straight from my homepage and drag and drop any existing materials straight into my Canva account, and you will see it starting to load here on my homepage. So don't feel that you ever have to start from scratch within Canva. You can either use one of their pre-existing templates, or you can bring in your own templates that you have created in other software, and then all of that, including your PDFs, will be completely customizable. So your text and your pictures and whatnot will, be able to be easily manipulated and edited from within Canva once you've uploaded them. So you can upload by dragging and dropping. You can upload from the uploads button, but you can also upload from your projects button down the left-hand side here, where you can bring in entire folders or individual files there as well. So 3 different ways to upload your content. Let's jump back on in here, and I have a little video to demo. So actually, Abigail showed us this before. I'm noticing, like, on the Canva Facebook teachers community page in America at the moment, they've all just gone back to school and they're all freaking out because their schools have rolled into a Canva education schooling team. And they're all like, I've lost all my work, I can't find it. But that's because they had their own education account, and then their school created an organizational team, which is single signed them on. Now, you're already in your organizational team, but you might need to toggle between different teams from that bottom left-hand corner, as Abigail demonstrated there before. So never fear, don't think, oh my gosh, I've lost everything. You're probably just in the wrong team. We do actually have a little cheat sheet here that you'll be able to grab and share for if anybody in your school does encounter that issue, if they haven't logged onto Canva in a while, they realize, oh, all my old stuff's gone. There is a little cheat sheet here that you guys can grab and you can share that with them as well. All right. So copying our content over between our old team and our new team is as easy as heading to our projects tab on the left-hand side, creating a new folder and putting them into that permissioned folder. So when we create, so this particular video is telling you how to do it individually, but what you would probably find if you have lots and lots of content is to create that folder, drag and drop all your existing templates into that folder. Maybe just call that folder migrate or transfer. And when you permission your organizational account to that, you will easily be able to then sign into your organizational team, and under projects, you'll be able to find all of the templates that you've just transferred over. So you don't have to sit there and individually share them with yourself. Pop them in a folder, permission yourself to that folder. There we go. Oh, yes, it's a very good note to make. Publisher files are not supported at the moment because Publisher is being phased out. So export your Publisher documents as a PDF and then drag them into Canva, and you can glow them up from within there. Okay. Here's how we can bulk transfer our files. So this is more what I was sort of talking about, where we can either simply tap on every single project that we have and then move them to that permissioned folder, or we can drag and drop our cursor over multiple templates just like this, and then we can move them into our specified folder. That might make your life a little easier if you guys have lots and lots of content that you need to migrate over.
Joy,
I love that they called it Move My Stuff.
Just a question.
Yeah.
With the cheat sheet you posted with all those links, when you're running the Canva app and not the browser version, is it easy?
It will force that cheat sheet open into a web page.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. I am a every single day user of Canva, and I actually avoid the Canva app. From an iPad or a device, that would be the way to go. But I actually feel like there's a lot more functionality and a lot more ease of use using the web-based version. So, I mean, obviously it's a preference for people, but I just find that, there's a lot more functionality within the web-based version. Very good to know, yes. All right. So popular resources, this is always just one. So if you are ever conducting any training with your staff, or you want to go back and show your teams all about Canva tomorrow in a meeting, these are always ones that are worth just demonstrating to teachers when, to get them really excited about Canva. So presentations has a whole lot of functionality in itself. It is the equivalent of a PowerPoint. You can bring in your PowerPoints and then you can use all the presentation features, which I'll go through in a moment. And you can use timers and magic shortcuts and your recording studio and everything from within there. But another one that's just started to explode on the TikTok scene, if you like to watch TikTok a little bit, people are starting to discover whiteboards, even though they've been around since 2022. People are only just realizing that we have this collaborative space. Now, if you're a person that was familiar with a Jamboard, that's now been phased out. That is a very similar function. It is a collaborative space where you can get all your students in, working on activities, providing feedback, dropping information in, working in small groups to ideate, whatever it may be. It's a really useful space for you guys to do group work within. So that link is in the chat there for you as well. So they're the sort of main things from the homepage that I really wanted to mention, but there are some really cool tips from within the editor. So the editor is where we then move into. So if I just jump into, here's my homepage. Once I move into either finding a template that I want to edit or creating from scratch a template, and it opens up into my editing space. So if I am just going to, and you're more than welcome to jump into your templates tab at the top here, or down the left-hand side here if you would like to be able to use lots more filtering options. If you guys want to look for a presentation template now, I'm just going to type in education presentation and get really general. But think about, what you might be teaching in the next few weeks, or if you're an admin, you could type in finance report or social media or something like that, and find a presentation that you'd like to just dissect with some of these cool tools that I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm just going to click on this one that says English class. And a little later on, I will point out, and I might even drop it into the chat now, we have an educational directory. Now, this is by far not a complete directory. We have more than 300 education creators around the world creating the content that you find in Canva. So when you tap on a template like this, you can see the creator here. And you can go into their account and you can find all the cool things that they've ever made. If you like their themes, or the way that, that maybe you think, oh, they're primary school or they're high school, I want to see what else they've got. You can jump in there and you can look at the creator, and you can also follow them as well. But I've just dropped into the chat an education creator. Let me just bring this. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my little share button screen at the top here. It's in my way. But if I just grab this link here.
Joy, if it's in your way, if you click and drag the 6 dots to the left of it, you can move it across.
Oh, I do have a little 6 dots. Thank you. You've just saved me. Thank you. I like working with you. You always got such great helpful tips. So this is what it looks like. Now, this is, not all 300 of them, but they do mention in it. These are just the ones that have gotten back to me in the last few weeks. They do mention in here what their specific focus is. So, if they're language specialists, if they're early primary, if they're secondary, if they're English specialists, whatever they may be. Lots of different resources within here that you guys can click on. My own is in here, so I know that if you find a creator you like, it is literally canva.com/ and then their creator name. So mine says Teach Cheap, another one's Education Resource Hub, Daydream Designs. Those ones all at the top are Aussie. And then you're able to jump into that person's page there, and you can follow and search all of their templates from within here as well. So just worth noting, all education creators are verified teachers. All of the content that goes through a 2-step review for educational and design quality standards. So not, if you find something with an error in there, do let us know, but it has gone through a 2-step check. Human error sometimes happens, but we do appreciate when you guys can let us know if there's something in there that has an error in it, let us know. But once we find a template that we like, so a presentation, and we open it, it takes us into our editing space. And so from within the editor, we have lots of cool little shortcuts that we can do. And I'll just open up this page for you, and I've dropped a link into the chat too. So we don't always have to head on over to the left-hand side to click on the text button here to add text to our page. We can simply click on the letter T, and it's going to add a text box straight into our design. So if you want to practice on the template that you've just opened, click the letter T, and you'll see it's inserted a text box straight into your space. To me, that is absolutely game-changing. Instead of having to head on over here, select and change and modify and add, I simply just need to click T, and I've now got my text box inserted in there. I know, it's really good. All these little cool tools have been here. It's just a matter of being shown them. Another cool thing that you can do from within this space is if you click the letter C, it's going to add a circle straight into your space. So we can add a circle here that we can add our text into. We can change colors and do all sorts of fun things with our shapes there. So C for the letter circle. And we can do exactly the same with the letter R, and that will give us an adjustable rectangle there that you can work with too. And for those that haven't seen the most incredible feature using your shapes, so C for circle, R for rectangle, but there are other shapes under your elements on the left-hand side here. So if you click on elements and you click see all under shapes, all of these shapes you are able to type into, and you're able to enable your quick flow. So what I'm actually going to do is I'll demonstrate this on another page. I'm just going to hover between two pages here and add a blank page into this space. You can do the same, or you can just go straight over the top of, an existing page there. I'm going to add a C for circle. And when you've added that C for circle or R for rectangle, you'll notice that there's 3 little dots here in your little floating toolbar. And you can either click those 3 dots and scroll to the bottom, or you can click the shape and scroll to the bottom, and you'll have this option here to enable quick flow. And people love this because you can so easily now start to create your own flow chart simply by clicking on the arrows around your shape. And you can go in there and you can change the colors of your shapes. You can show levels of understanding by saying, I'm in the red zone, I need help. I'm nearly there. I'm in the green zone, I've got it now. And you guys can start to work on your design thinking, your writing plan, whatever it may be. You can start to build out your flow chart that way. And I just think that's such an incredible tool that unless you think to go, I'm going to have a look what's underneath those 3 dots, you don't really know it's there. And then the best part of this is you can simply add your text within here, but then you can also double tap onto the line and you can add your text onto that line there as well. So double tap and you can add your text onto the line there too. So a lot easier than wrapping text in Word. It's a lot more fun as well there. The kids really love it. Once you've enabled it, it will remain enabled until you just choose to turn it off there as well. So a really cool tool, a really little known tool there as well. One last thing with our shortcuts, we have lots and lots of shortcuts, but another one that I really like is simply clicking on the letter L and it will insert a line into your space there too. So clicking on the letter L adds a line into your design. Lots of cool little shortcuts that you can play around with in that link that I've dropped into the chat there. Okay, let's keep moving along. We have so many things that I'd like to show you and we're running out of time. What I'm going to do from this presentation is I'm going to slide all the way to the end. Now, if you don't have your thumbnail preview turned on, so if you don't have your design here in the main space with your other pages visible down below, head down to the bottom where it says pages there and just toggle until you can see the same view as me. Then when you head all the way to the end, you'll have the ability to add another blank page, but you also have this up-down arrow here that will allow you to add. Now, administrators, you're going to love this. It's going to allow you to add multi-doc types into the one design. So if you are an administrator and you're working on a social media market campaign and you need your square LinkedIn posts and you need your portrait Instagram posts and you need your Facebook banners that are long and wide, you can drop all of those different templates into the one link so that you between your team are just sharing one link instead of multiple links. And I think this is game changing for teachers who might use Canva as a portfolio tool. So you could have your students put a worksheet in here. They might put a video slideshow in here, a poster or an infographic, and they can demonstrate a whole bunch of different work types and work samples all within the one presentation. So if you want to scroll to the end there and just practice adding some of these different template types within here, and you can click on more if the one that you're looking for isn't there. So if I type in infographic, you can now see that I have a presentation landscape one here, and then I have a tall infographic one here. I'm going to add a sheet. So now I have a sheet. So for those who aren't aware, we have Canva sheets now as well. And then I'm going to add in a video slideshow here. Let's go a Facebook size. and I'm going to add in a worksheet as well. So lots of different template types that you guys can add into here and keep all of the students' work in the one space. And I think that is absolutely mind-blowing for those that like to use this for student portfolios. This is a little practice activity that I'm dropping into the chat now for those that would like to come along and just practice learning how to do that. Or if you wanted to share that with somebody, there's a link there that will walk you through how to add different template types to that one presentation. Okay, I'm going to hop out of my grid view here and quickly take you back just for a very quick minute, only because I know that not everyone that's here today has seen something that I demonstrated in another session recently. What I'm going to do is just remove these so I only have presentations. So I'm in a presentation template here, and I just want to quickly show those who haven't yet been made aware of some of the cool tools that we have within presentations. We can head up to the top right here where it says present. And from this button here, we have the ability to present and record. So we have an entire recording studio, and you can choose to record yourself or just your audio. But you can also upload from the left-hand side here any pre-existing templates or documents, videos, audio that you have created from outside of Canva. You can drop in here too. But we also have a recording feature from here as well. So much functionality. It's just a matter of where do we find it? How can we use it? So I know that we're able to present from here in the recording studio. We can upload our own voices and videos from here. But it is also worth mentioning that we have additional features under apps where you can record or use an AI avatar, which I think is incredibly useful. You know, recently I was chatting with a media arts teacher, and the students had to record themselves doing a visual arts, so it was a visual arts teacher, doing a response to their artwork, and she had a child that was highly anxious about the idea of recording himself. So she jumped into apps and she actually found an AI avatar, and that student had the best time recording their voice and having their little character move around and demonstrate their learning on their presentation. When I click present, it goes to presentation mode. Okay, so yes. So when you go to present here, do you have the ability, can you see that present and record? I'm just wondering, potentially your administrator might have turned that off accidentally, but that is a feature that can be turned off for students if you don't want them to be creating video there as well. So all I did was I clicked the present button up the top here, and then I had these options here. So do you have that, Kim? No, it could be half a window. Maybe, yeah. Can you expand your whole window for a second and then just see if you can see that? So see that present button there? Yeah, you've got a present and record button right there. I can see that. Oh, sorry, that's Abigail sending her picture in. Sorry. If you can't see that, have a chat with take a screenshot of my screen now, or grab the screenshot that Abigail sent and ask your IT or your administrator to put that on for you, because it's a really, really useful tool, especially if you know you're going to be away and you'd like to maybe deliver a lesson that's pre-recorded or flip your learning or something for your students. You can record yourself that way as well. Another quick thing that I wanted to show from here is when you go into present, if you guys click on present in full screen, this is like your slideshow mode for if you were using PowerPoint. So this is your present in full screen mode. You have additional functions under here that are so well hidden, people don't tend to go looking for them. Right down the bottom here in this scroll bar. So if you bring your cursor all the way down to the bottom, you'll get this little bar down the bottom show up. This is where you guys can draw and annotate and highlight all over your presentation, and it will not ruin your master. So whilst I am able to click through on my presentation here, I can, let me turn that off there. I'm at the end of my slide. There we go. I've still got my annotation there, but when I go out of present mode, my annotation is gone. And I think that's a really useful tool for you guys if you want to keep that master for another lesson. But if you wanted to use your draw tools from inside here to make a modification to your master, you would use that pen tool from the editing space and not from within your presentation space. So again, from the present mode down the bottom here, we also have some magic shortcuts. So if you guys are in present mode, I want you to click the letter C and see what happens to your page. We have confetti. Click the letter M. We've got a mic drop. D for drum roll. We can have a quieten up now, kids. You're a little too noisy for me. So we've got all those little interactive attention grabbers there as well, but we also have a timer. So all I have to do is tap on any number on my keyboard and it will insert a timer into my space. And I can add music. So I can have some music here and I can change to whatever minute I like, hit play, and it will play that music whilst it counts down. The last 10 seconds will tap out so that it will be able to bring to your attention you've only got 10 seconds left to go. So just worth knowing we have that cool tool there as well. And the last one that we have talked about before, but I wanted to bring attention to for our newbies, click on this little more button here and you have a remote control function. So if someone wants to scan my page now, my hands are on my head and you guys can control my screen. This will give you the ability to walk around and support your students at their desks, but still be able to manage the content that's on the screen at the front of the classroom. So the person, look at that, my hands are on my head, someone's controlling my screen. You guys will be able to access your left and right buttons here to scroll through the page, but also your magic shortcuts there as well. So you guys can drop your confetti, blur the screen, all those fun things from within your QR code. And for those that do deliver any webinars or anything like that, I'll just disconnect for the noise. For those that do ever conduct anything online, that's a really useful tool for two people to be able to control the same screen without having to stop share screens on the computer there as well. Excellent. Okay, love that. Oh, and I love that you're supporting me in the chat. You're so good, Abigail. Thank you, thank you. All right, another thing that I wanted to point out from within your presentations or worksheets or whatever it is that you might have created and you're ready to share with your students is that you guys can add polls and quizzes from the left-hand side here. And I'm not actually going to go into this too much, but I will give you some training material. You guys can add polls and quizzes. You can customize those polls and quizzes simply by double tapping on them and adding your information here. And then you can share that with your students and you can collect that data or that information and export it as a CSV file or insert it straight into a Canva sheet. So let me show you how we might share something. So let's say that I've created this template. I'm just this question here. What is the best software in the world? We're going to say Canva. Canva. You can't get this wrong, guys. All right. And then when I'm ready to share this, you'll see here, I've got my question ready and I'm ready to share this with my students. I simply head to share in the top right corner here, and you might want to select that to be assigned via your learning management system. If you don't have a learning management system integrated, you might share that via a class that you've created, or you could share that as a public view link. Now, some people, their computer says view only link, but most people it says public view link. And when you create that public view link, it means you've now created your own mini website. You don't have to be signed into Canva to be able to access this. It is not a website that you'll be able to find through a Google search. You have to have access to that link. So if I just keep moving right along and find that page that has that quiz on there, I'm going to jump in here answer my question, I'll get that immediate feedback. Correct. I've got that correct. I've got the tick there. If I selected the wrong one, it would flash red. So sharing a public view link means that that student can access it. If they're logged into Canva, it will capture their data of who answered what. But if they don't have a Canva account, they can still respond. It just won't give you the name of the responder. So back from your original template where we created that question, we simply tap on that question and we click responses here, and we can then grab that data and we can export it or move it into a sheet if we like. Simply by tapping on that responses button, we'll get that extra menu show up over here. So
Melissa has a question, but you might have already answered it.
Yep.
So she's asked, can you implement live polls? I was trying to make Microsoft Forms polls link.
You can put a link in there, but it's going to link out and take you and open up that extra page. Does that make sense?
So like they show while you're presenting. Yeah.
This can be in present mode. So I had, recently we had somebody asking, can I put Mentimeter and all these other things into it? It will not show, this data won't show live like that sort of response. You can embed your Microsoft Forms or your Google Forms into here if you like, but there are also some live capture apps within here too. And a little bit later on, I'm actually going to give you guys a link to a whole bunch of educational apps that are really useful too. So there are some within here that will serve that function there too. So I've just dropped into the chat there your polls play along. So if you want to have a little play at practicing that, it will walk you through step by step the steps on how to create a poll and then how to share and collect those responses there as well. Okay. Also, I will just drop into the chat for those that love to collect the links. Here's your presentation. So I did show you some of those presentation tools. Here's a little play along here as well. Yes, there is something that's a little like a Mentimeter type function under apps. I'm just trying to remember the name of it, but I will get back to you as soon as it hits me. Okay. So there's a couple of play alongs in the chat there as well. So we did mention before that we do have Canva Sheets now within here that has additional AI functionality. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to head to the end of my presentation here, and I'm going to add a sheet into my space. So if you guys head all the way to the end of your presentation, click your little arrow button and tap on Sheet. This is just going to insert a blank sheet into your space. But if you are not a person that wants to start from scratch, you can head on up once you have that blank sheet here. You can head on over to the top left-hand corner here where it says Design. And because I now have a sheet template open, I have lots of pre-made sheet templates that I can drop into this space. So if you want to click on Design, have a little scroll through here and just add one to your design. So I'm just going to add this media plan in here. And it will just simply populate that existing sheet that I've added into here. And I'll have a little play along to walk you through all of these sheet functions, but it's just worth noting that this just makes your data so much more visual. I am not a data person. I know when I got my job as an e-learning coordinator, I literally said in my interview, I can't do shit like chess and sheets, I can't do. But Canva is slowly winning me over. I'm starting to get the hang of it because I like visuals. So when we have a sheet here, yes, you're going to get all of these links at the end. Don't worry, Helen, you'll get them all. And we'll get that sent out to you at the end as well. So from within here, all I have to simply do is tap into my page here. And then I get this floating toolbar along the top. Now, anything that's in this lovely bluey purple gradient is your AI functionality. If you click on the Actions button there that's in your bluey purple color, you'll be able to see all of the cool things that we can do with our sheet. So we can import our data. We can generate fill empty cells. We can turn the data that we've got there into a chart that we can then move around between different pages as well, or different templates. Magic Insights will allow us to say, you know, if you've put student data into here, you might say, let me know all the students that got 40% or less, and it's going to then itemize all of that content for you there as well. We even have, now this one really upset a digital technologies teacher that I spoke with the other day, but we have magic formulas in here. And to me, honestly, in the day of AI, I don't understand why we need to teach people to memorize formulas. You know, when we can simply jump on the internet and find out, jump on ChatGPT and find out. But now we can simply jump into Canva and we can ask the question and it will formulate, you know, it will come up with the formula that we need there to help make sense of that data. Another really cool one here is bulk create. So if you are teaching, say, kindergarten, and you want everyone to have a graduation certificate at the end of the year to graduate from kindergarten, maybe year 6 are graduating, whatever it may be, you guys can jump in here, add your student data from a CSV file or import it yourself, and then you can link it to an existing Canva template and bulk create, you know, 120 certificates within a matter of seconds. So those actions are all found underneath your actions button here from within Sheets. So you don't have access to all of those cool tools from general templates, but Sheets is definitely where you're going to find all of those extra cool things. Now, for each of those different functions, I have here a little play along. So this deck that I've just put into the chat here, I'll drop this into here very quickly and show you what it looks like. You will have the ability here to practice each of those different features. So you'll be able to background remove in bulk from images. You'll be able to fill empty data and empty cells, magic review, so magic write, sorry. So you might jump in here and say, okay, these are my curriculum standards, create me some lessons based on this, translate in bulk as well. So lots of different ways for you to use Sheets by using this play along deck. If the template is in a different language currency, can you quickly change that? Absolutely. All right, so from within here, you can translate all of your anything that you've ever got open in Canva. You can head on up to the top here where it says File, and next to it, it says Resize. And down below, we can translate into any of the different languages that have been built into Canva. And there's some really obscure ones in there too. So you can always find your translate feature within Resize, scroll down to translate, and then you can translate into other languages. Now, what I love about this is that it will keep your original and it will translate and make a copy into a second template. So you will then have an additional template in that language. My suggestion would be to then jump into here and say, all right, this is my English version, this one's my Chinese version, or whatever it may be. So that's just really worth knowing that we do have those Sheets functions. Now, there are still some limitations. So if you're working with a lot of data, Canva can only really work with 500 cells at the minute, but they are constantly improving and evolving. So that's worth knowing that at the moment, there's a couple of limitations. So if you're working on a classroom level, this might work perfectly for you. If you're an admin and you're working with 2,000 kids, you might run into problems here. Stick with what you know for the moment until the software catches up. Worth knowing. All right, let's jump into just a little bit of information regarding AI. Now, Canva AI is currently going through an assessment with Safer Technologies for Schools. It takes months and months and months for them to get that information to us, but it is worth just knowing for those parents that might be a bit hesitant, for those administrators that might be a little bit worried about the data that you're putting into your Canva account. It is worth knowing that whilst lots of different large language models are feeding Canva, nothing you put into Canva is feeding outside of Canva. So if you go and drop your CV in there with all your personal information, that information remains within Canva. So I'll just drop this link in here if you've got some hesitant staff members that would just like to know that little bit of information. That we do have Canva. Initially, it used to be 13 plus, but with the amount of safety and security things that Canva's put into place, you can't type in dirty words. You can't even type in anatomical words. You can't even type in like I've tried to do a generation of Donald Trump having dinner with Taylor Swift, and it said this goes against our terms. So I've tried to break the system. It's very, very difficult. The closest that I was able to get for something that was violent was a confetti popper. So well worth just holding on to this. And Abigail's also dropped in here a risk a self-service link within the chat there as well for you guys. So definitely worth keeping on to that. And we'll also let you know once the ST4S assessment's been done, that'll be sent out to all of you guys as well. So lots and lots of AI that you can access from Canva, from both the home page. So your home page has AI from the tab here, which is the exact same button as the one on the left-hand side. But worth noting that you may or may not see all of these functions, and your students may see even less than you. That the decision to turn on some of these things is at a local level. So if you think to yourself, you know what, I feel like us as teachers would like to have access to, being able to create a presentation, a 10-page presentation on science forces or whatever it may be, ask your administrator to ensure that they're turned on for teachers, and then make sure that you have those conversations about what students can access as well. So absolutely worth knowing that there's a couple of ways we can access the AI. So from the home page, here and here, from within our editor. So once I open up this template that I just had open a moment ago, I have additional ways to access my AI. So I can simply tap on anything that's got text, and you'll see that I get this little floating toolbar here with a little blue pen. That's how I access my Magic Write pen. So it does all sorts of things like text-to-text generations, turning any text into a quiz, transforming, shortening, sprinkling some fairy dust to make it a little more fun. But for those who love a bit of Magic Write, here is a play along link for you in the chat. Magic Write, here we go. That will walk you through how to use Magic Write to the best of your ability there. We also have some other cool tools from within our apps. So down the bottom here under apps, all your most recently used apps will show up under there. But if we go to apps and we type in Magic Media, we have our image generator from within our editor. And that's where we can simply bring our characters to life, demonstrate a concept, create a picture for some visual literacy, whatever it may be. But from any pictures or photos that you've added into your design space, you can also edit and customize from within your Magic Studio. So if I have a photo here, let me just go school children. I can add additional Magic Studio functions by simply grabbing a picture, and from the edit bar along the top here, I have this edit button where I can access all of my Magic Studio. So I can generate a new background, I can erase parts of the pictures, so maybe I want to remove someone from there. I can magic grab, I can pick her up and I can move her over this side. I can grab text. So if your students have created a poster where they've handwritten stuff on there, you could take a photo, it will grab the text and turn it into written text, into typed text. Magic Edit means that you can maybe give this kid purple hair or put a book in her hands or whatever. Magic Expands is a really useful tool for those that are working with, say, a landscape photo that they want to put into a portrait size or whatever, and it will elongate or, create additional picture using negative space. So just to know that it's there, we won't have a chance to jump into it, but I do have a little play along for you. So here's your Magic Studio play along for you to play along in later on. Just worth knowing that that functionality is there for you guys to be able to edit, especially those who work in the marketing team at school. Most recently, I worked with New South Wales Department of Education. They had taken some really amazing photos, but the logo for the school was off center and they wanted the children to be standing underneath it. So instead of having to go get all those kids out of the classroom again and have them take that picture, we simply grabbed the logo, the big plaque behind their heads, and we repositioned it so that it was front and center above the children's heads in the background. So lots of different ways to really help level up your social media or your public facing materials that you might be sending out. All right, for those who love the apps, here is a deck full of educational apps. Now, this is constantly evolving. We have hundreds and hundreds of companies that Canva collaborates with for their apps, and sometimes they come and sometimes they go. So it's worth noting that it is just so impossible for us to get one big long list of them all. But for the moment, most, if not all of these are relevant now. So they have lots of different ideas for how this can be used, or these apps can be used in an educational context. So if you've got a really fuzzy picture, you can upscale it. If you'd like to turn your class photo into a cartoon picture, there's some fun ways of doing that in here as well. So this is just a really cool link for you guys to be able to explore some of the apps that are within Canva's editor. So if I head back to here, you will find your apps down the left-hand side under apps here. Okay, we are almost running out of time. I really wanted to share with you an amazing use case activity that you guys can take away and use in your lessons tomorrow. This is a STEM hologram activity that I did in a holiday workshop. What we did was we used Canva to create a hologram, an animation, and then we created a pyramid hologram box or pyramid using like an overhead projector sheet, or the plastic sheets that you put on top of a bound book. When you bind a book, they have those plastic sheets. So you can just get them from Officeworks. You might find them in your office at school. And this is a really fun way for your kids to be able to create a moving video of themselves or of an object, maybe the earth spinning or something. So what we did here is have a look at these examples. I've got the earth here. I've got a person running. This one here was geometric shapes. So this link that I'm going to give you in a moment will actually walk you through how to create that animation on Canva. Then you'll also get access to a blackline master or a template there that you can print off and have your students trace onto their piece of plastic so that they can create their own hologram. It is so much fun. Everyone has the best time creating this, and I've done it with as young as grade 2 all the way to grade 9. So the kids really love it. Look at how easy it is. And imagine getting your students to take a video of themselves dancing, you background removing it so it's just their own picture there, and then you've got a video of them dancing as a hologram image. I just think that is just so much fun. You could use this for your solar system activities or nature or whatever it is you might be doing, and then the entire video here with the QR codes to the different links are in here. So I'm going to grab this link for you, drop it into the chat. Don't worry if you don't have access to these. These will all be in the one link that you'll need to save at the end there. So I've just dropped that into the chat for you. And just before we finish up, we've got 3 more minutes. We have been working very hard at creating a resource on the First Nations content that you guys can find within Canva. So to ensure that the content that's been found in there is being properly acknowledged and used appropriately, we have created this deck here, or this website, that really talks about the appropriate use of the content that you find in there, how that content happened to come about in there. So through the Canva Represents Fund, where they collaborate with a lot of First Nations artists in Australia, and and they contribute their photos or their templates or their imagery and art that they've created. You have links here to a lot of the different artists and how you can and how you should not be using the artwork there, as well as a link to the ICIP regulations. And another way just to find out how to source and acknowledge our artists within there too. So this is an amazing document that has been created in collaboration with both the diversity team at Canva and the Aboriginal Directorate Office at the New South Wales Department of Education. So here we go. I'm just going to pop this into the chat for you. And keep that one, especially if you work in administrative roles and you're creating content for, say, NAIDOC week or, a special event coming up, to ensure that you're properly acknowledging the artwork and using it as it was intended. One more thing that I really wanted to point out very quickly is for those that are thinking after today, I'd love to get Jo in at my school and do some of this training. We do have a workshop catalogue. I do deviate from this, so if there's something special that you want, I am more than happy to curate content. Yes, no, I actually don't even think that we can create First Nations content in Canva. It'd be worth double checking. I did try to see what would come up right at the beginning, but I haven't recently, but I was not able to generate anything. I think that there might be some safety things put into place there. So the catalogue is there in the link, as well as our ongoing termly newsletter that just sort of gives you some timely templates and some links to some of the certifications and activities that you can access with Canva. One more thing before we head off, from your home page, underneath your little team switcher button here, under help and resources, we have Design School. So you do not need to head to YouTube or Google to look for all of your Canva needs. From the little initials down the bottom there, head to help and resources, Design School, and this is where you're going to find all of your videos, tutorials, cheat sheets, activities, certifications, all of the things that you need for Canva to really help support you and your students in using Canva education. So I'm going to pass on back to Abigail now, but before I go, I'm just going to drop today's deck into the chat. So if you're going to take one link away from today, grab that one, but I'll also send this on to Abigail so that she can share it with you later on. So I'm going to pass back over to you. Thank you so much for your time.